Okay, I think that this one, Sif Yud Ches, Perek Yud Ches, we should do inside. Just to put it into context, where we're up to. We're still on the same Nakuda. We're still on the same Nakuda that we're tracing back in the Moshul, in the Nimshul, what we learned in the Moshul. What was the Nakuda again? That in the Moshul, the Kovetz, HaNefesh, Apnimim Be'etzim, which he explains means Mugbalim Be'etzim, and you can trace the Kovetz all the way back into the Etzim, Kovetz HaKlulim Be'etzim. So what does it mean that they're Mugbalim Be'etzim? What does it mean that they are Pnimim Be'etzim? It means that although when the Kovetz HaKlulim inside the Etzim is Dach Bligvul, Mamela the Kovetz also should be on the level of Bligvul. Like we spoke last time about something that's kolol. Kol ha-kolol bo ha-etzim hareu kamei ha-etzim. When something's kolol in something higher, it takes on the level of the kolol. It's on a higher level. So the kovetz ha-klulim b'nefesh, be'etzim ha-nefesh, should be bligvul. Nevertheless, we're saying, no, but they're pnimim be'etzim, they're mugbalim be'etzim, meaning they're only bligvul now because the situation that they're in now is they're kolol in the etzim ha-nefesh. But if you were to extract them from the nefesh, you will see what they are. And what are they? Pnimim be'etzim, they're mugbalim. When Chachma is kolol in the etzim ha-nefesh, you don't see it as Chachma. As soon as it comes out, you'll see what it is. It's Chachma, and this is Chesed, this is Gvura. So we're trying to look at this in the Nimshul. Let's take the Esesphiris all the way back to the Shoresh. Had Heicham had Varan Magim. To which level do we say that the Oiris, we've just proved in the previous Maamar, the Oiris have its seal. Right? We proved it from different ways. So the Oiris have its seal. How far can we go with this, that the Oiris themselves have its seal, and they are Pnimim Be'etzim, they have its seal Be'etzim, it's just that you don't see it so much, it becomes more and more mufshut, but they still have its seal. Till where can we trace this back? So we're going all the way back to Ein Sof, to the Shoresh of the Spheres. Where's the first Shoresh of Esses Spheres? In the last Madreg in Ein Sof, and that's called the Esses Spheres Agnosis. That is the Shoresh HaKav. What is the Kav? It's an Oir of Esses Spheres, which starts out Lifnei HaTzimtzum in the Ein Sof, and all you have to do is be Mamshech, and you'll see that it's an Oir of Esses Spheres. Now again, we have to remember that there are two shittas in the Kav, and he's going to mention in brackets the other shitta. Just quickly again, what are the two shittas? Here are the spheres like the Moshel of the Paradis, that the spheres are like Mayim Pshutim, and the whole sea is only Metzad the Kli. That's a different shitta. The shitta that he wants to give a preference in this Hemshech is that the Oiris themselves have it seer all the way back to Ein Sof. The Esesphiris Adnuzis as well. And with that, the Rebbe Hussein says a few Inyonim Chadoshim over here. We'll get to it slowly. So let's just do the beginning inside. Perek Yud Ches, I think we should do inside. Let's start. Lahavin to call Zeh Yesh L'Haktim Tchila. Mash Nisbar Li'el, the Ha'oris Im Yesem Pshutim Einam Bebechinis Pshitis Mamish Kepshitis Ein Sof. Shahari Omer B'Sefer Yitzire Esesphiris B'Lima. We already say Eser, Shigam B'Ha'oris Esh Esesphiris. Rak Shehem B'Lima L'Gabe HaKelim. L'Gabe the Kelim they're called B'Lima, they're called Pshitus. But by Emerson they're not Pshitus, they do have it sealed. V'nisbayed ha'akav gam k'moi shu kolol b'Ein Sof shelifnei hatzimtzum yesh by esesphiris v'hein esesphiris hagnuzes shehem sheirish u'moker ha'gvul. So we've traced the esesphiris all the way back to Ein Sof. Those are the esesphiris hagnuzes. What about higher than that? There's no spheres. Or if there are spheres, there's ein kate spheres, but no eser. Eser is up until the last to the beginning of Ein Sof. Now in Ein Sof there's many levels. We're talking about the last level of Ein Sof before the Tzimtzum Rishon. So there are Esesphiris Hagnuzis there. And he says, "L'gabe madrega zu ha'kav v'chinas gidlo herem, l'gabe ha'Ein Sof v'chinas be'ein arech." That was in answer to the Benegea to if it's ein arech or yesh miyah. Now start Perek Yud Ches. V'al pi zeh, al pi what? Al pi zeh that we just now said that the kav which is the Esser Spheres Agnuzis, have a Sherish Lifnei Tzimtzum. And these spheres are what? They're Mugbalim Be'etzim. They have a Tzil, and their Inyan is his Chalkos, different spheres of different Shiurim. So they are Mugbal Be'etzim. Is Al Pizeh, Efshe Yesh Leima, Efshe Yesh Levaya, Ma Shema Shmoy Sa'itz Chaim Hu, Shahoy Yochel Li is Gilu Erakav Mebli Sheyitzamtzim Ha'oivi Yis'alim Tchila. The Kav could have been Nischadish. There could be the Erakav without a Tzimtzum. Without a Tzimtzum in the Kav. What does that mean? The Beis Chaim Shah of Seif Anaf Gimel Hiksha. Lo Mohaya Tzimtzum Beifen Kazesh Nistala Koile Gamri V'Achakach Nimshach HaKav V'lo Hiniach Oise B'chinas HaKav Bim Koimoi V'Salik Shah HaEra Godel Bilvad. The Beis Chaim asked a question, and this question is brought down many places. What does Beis Chaim ask? Why was the Tzimtzum Marishan B'derech Siluk Lagamri? Why take away the whole oil? Take away 90% of the oil and leave over 10%? That's a question of Beis Chaim. Does that make sense, by the way, in the Moshel? Is there a Moshel for such a thing? What's the question? You have oil in Sof, so why do you have to take everything away and then start again and be matched with the Kav? Take away 90%, leave over 10% for the Kav, and we're okay.
Is there a muscle that does work?
Huh?
You're asking me if there is a muscle that does work or a muscle that doesn't work?
You tell me.
What's he going to say?
What's the muscle say in the first place?
What's the muscle do we have for Tzimtzum? What's the standard muscle?
He's about to say.
Huh? Rav and Talmud. Would it work, this muscle with Rav and Talmud? Take away 90%, leave over 10%. It would work?
No, we say in Ranat, he speaks about it. You can't.
What's that? Okay, there's no real Rav.
If the Indian is an Indian Chadash to the Talmud, so then it doesn't work. If it's someone who's the Talmud already has a Shaykhs to...
No, we're not dealing with the Talmud now. I'm talking about the Rav. Can you say Tzimtzum, leave over a Chelik? That's the shayla over here. Why be Misalik and Sof? Leave over a shtickle for the Kav.
Rav himself?
Yes, why can't the Rav do that?
I'm saying without the Talmud? Forget about the
Don't forget what doing. He's doing it for the Talmud eventually, but he's doing the Tzimtzum. Is this the thing in the Moshe?
That he could be Mitzamtzim without being Mitzamtzim?
No.
Yeah.
How do you leave part of it yourself?
Well, you're talking about Rav and a Talmud. It's not real bleakful. It's, Takabein Arich to the Talmud. What? Okay, Rebbe Chassid could work, but we're talking about a Moshel. Moshel Rav and Talmud. I mean, it's divine. I haven't seen any Ravs that do this Tzimtzum B'derech Siluk anyhow. What's that?
What are you going to take away?
What?
What are you going to take away?
Oh, that's why you're not going to see the Moshel. Look how he asked the question. That's what I'm trying to show. Okay, you do a Moshel B'zeh b'hashpos ha'seichel. Let's go 2 lines before. Sorry. ולכאורה אין מובן, הלא מבוא בכמה מקומות בכדי שיגילו השייך אל העולמות, היה צורך להסיק לסמס אל לגמרי. וכידוע המשל בזה, that what? What's the muscle going to bring? That he needs to be silik legambri. Vashpos ha-seichel. The beseichel harav kameshu la'atzmi, ein nike klal ha'oire seichel ha-shaykh la-talmud, validei shemaylam oire legambri, as I nivdu v'nike ha'oire ha-shaykh la-mekabel. V'im kein, if we're going to go with that muscle, there's no such thing as a partial tzimtzum. V'im kein, b'fi zeh, eich hoye efshe she'yishor erakav, mibli she'yis'alam ha'oire legambri. In other words, he's asking from the Moshel that there's no such thing. It wouldn't work. So what's the kasha of the Eitz Chaim? Right? So in a Moshel we don't have such a thing. So whole gufa, why wouldn't a Moshel work? Why can't you have in the Moshel that you take 90% seichel and leave it over? What were you saying before?
How do you take away? What does it take away? How you split up?
Seichel's bein hareich. It's bleakful the gab of the Talmud. But why can't the Rav who has this seichel, he's in charge of the seichel, it's his svara, why can't he chop it up to pieces?
There's no part of it which the Talmud would be able to understand.
The point of Tzimtzum is there should be a new seichel.
Say again?
The point of the Tzimtzum is there should be a new seichel.
It's not a new seichel. He wants to give him this seichel. But he wants to give it in an oath that the Talmud can accept it. He's not teaching him something else. He's teaching him from his big chidush. He's giving a small amount of it, or a simpler amount of it, part of it, to the Talmud. But it's still his seichel. It's not like a Rav Moshel. If you have to now teach Aleph Beis to a child, you have to be mitzamtzim v'derech sili. That would be a simple example. To close your sefer, close your Gemara, stop learning on your level, and go down to a baby level, teach him Aleph Beis, Kovetz Aleph, or teach him simple stuff. That would be tzimtzum v'derech sili. But are you teaching him what you just learned? You just learned a sugi, Gemara, Taisvus, a Maamar. You're not teaching him that. You've stopped learning, and you've gone to another subject. We're talking about a Rav that's trying to be mashpeh his seichel. But the Talmud is too small, so he doesn't understand it. So he has to do like what Rashi does. Rashi has all of Shas and all of the Midrashim and all of the other Svarim that he has, Kabbalahs, whatever he has, and he has to somehow pack it into a simple pshat that Ben Chomish Lemikah can understand. Only now that we have Sichas do we appreciate that inside this pshat you can reach to Yenushal Torah and you can understand Chidushim, etc., etc. But the way it is, what did he do? He took from his Omek HaSeichel and extracted a small amount that he could put in Pshuta Shumikra. So again, why would the Rav not be able to do a partial simtzum, a partial siluk, and leave over some? Because why? What were you saying before?
The whole seichel is being arrayed.
The whole seichel is being arrayed.
So no part of the seichel is how much be able to understand.
There's no part. In other words, it's like saying if you have amkus in a seichel, can you give me 10% of your amkus? What do you mean 10% of my amkus? Either you have the Omek HaSvara or you don't have the Omek HaSvara.
Legal is not a bunch of go together.
The Oir HaSeichel is one Oir. It's one Havana, which has, of course, many protein, but it's one Omek. You can't chop Omek you can't cut it into pieces. How do you do that? It's one Oir. So therefore, for the Rav to get to a simple seichel for the Talmud, he has to Ki'ilu start again. So he has to do B'derech Siluk and then Ki'ilu start again. There's no such thing as 10% of Amkus. It's either Oimek or not Oimek. So therefore there's no such thing as being Masalak Echel. What's that? No, but in that shit of the Rishonim, can you give him 20% of the Rashba's Svara? Because it's one Svara, it's one Inyan, and either you get it or you don't get it. So, Al Derech Zeh Yuvan Lamaila, that the Oil in Sof is one Oil, L'cha'ora. And if it's one Oil, one Oimik, which is an Oil B'Yid Vul, Oil Echad Poshet Oil Memalak Olam Metzias, so you can't take out pieces and say, well, I'll take away 90%, I'll leave over 10%. There's no such things like 10% of Amkus. It doesn't make sense. That's why the question is, how could the Eitz Chaim say, Bichlal even begin with such a question? Leave over the Eirakav. That's basically the question of the Eitz Chaim. How did Eitz Chaim say leave over? Elamai, what's he going to say the answer to that is? He's saying, yeah, that's what he asked. How could you leave over without having a tzimtzum v'derech sili? What's the answer going to be? That the bazeh ein ha-mashal deimer l'nimshal. In the mashal of the Rav, there's no two oiras. There's one oir which he's learning for himself, Oimek HaSeichel, and he's got a Talmud here which is be'ein areich, the baby. How's he going to translate this Oimek HaSeichel for the Talmud? So you can't split it up. But L'mayla, it's not like that. L'mayla, there's the Oimek HaSeichel, and then there's another Oir HaSeichel in Lifnei HaTzimtzum. And that is an Oir Metzumtzum Oir HaKav. In other words, Bazeh Ein HaMoshel Deimer and Emshel. There are two Oiris L'mayla.
Is he also the same right after two oiris too?
What's that? Not before the Tzimtzum. There's an efsharius to make a chelik of it into Pashto Seichel, yes.
Why do you have the Pshat in the Gemara, then you have the whole Oimek?
No, but we're talking about the Oimek, not talking about the Pshat. He learns in the Oifen of Oimek, and you now wants to take this big chiddush that he has and explain it to a 5-year-old. How's he going to do
It's
that?
not like the Oimek and then the Maskana.
No, there's the Oimek itself, and now what's shining in his mind is the Oimek. You can't split that up. Masha'enkin and the Nimshal Amayla, you can split it up. Why? That's what the Rebbe Shmuel wants to prove. That even Lifnei HaTzimtzum, there's two oiras. This is a big deal. There's oir in Sof HaBligvul, and there's the oir HaGvul. And what the Rebbe Shmuel has done over here, he's proven from Eitz Chaim that this is the shitta of the Eitz Chaim. We wouldn't have asked you what's the shitta of the Eitz Chaim. Oiris have a gvul or oiris a bli gvul? Oiris have a tzio or pshitas? The Hemshech is now proven to us that Eitz Chaim is of the opinion that the oiris have a gvul, have a tzio, and they were there inside the Oir and Sof. It just wasn't nikah. And how will you make it be nikah? It should be nikah if the all you have to do is take away the bli gvul and you'll see it there. It's a bit like Al Derech, he actually compares it, I think, later, just like the Rishimu. Where was the Rishimu Lifnei Tzimtzum? It wasn't nikah. You didn't know it was there. All you have to do is, when Masala the himself, what will you see? Kayach. Right? He brings it down?
What?
The Mashal of the Rishimu, I think it is. Right, so they just like the Kayach HaGvul, the Rishimu. So what would be a Mashal? I like to visualize things a little bit. The Mashal of two types of oil, Lifnei Tzimtzum, oil and sof, and there's another oil within the Tzimtzum. So just to make it Gishmak. Kiyadua, the Gemara says that in the middle of the Yam Kineres, there is the Be'er Shel Miriam, right? And if you stand on a certain place, you can see it. Now, if you're swimming in the Yam over there, are you going to say, oh, there's a traffic light here, stop over here, here comes the Be'er Shel Miriam, let's go around it. It's Mayim b'Mayim, it's all one big vessel. But if you stand from a distance, and if you have the right view, you'll be able to see that there's a stream within a stream. There's Mayim within the Mayim. There's two sets of Mayim. You know the Maisa de Arizal with the Be'er Shel Miriam? The Maisa de Arizal? The Reb Chaim Vital complained to the Arizal that he doesn't understand what he's talking about. He doesn't understand. So the Arizal says, we're going on a trip. Get into a little boat, and they travel down the Yam Kineres, and in the middle, the Arizal takes a cup of water. It says, Reb Chaim, Macha Bracha Trikos, drinks up a cup of water. He says, now you're going to understand everything. You just drank from Be'er Shel Miriam. It just gives you to understand. It says, Lo nitnu ha'Torah ela lo'echle haman. The Torah was given to those that paid the man, right? And also drank from the Be'er Shel Miriam. Right? That was their breakfast, lunch, and supper was man, and the drink was Be'er Shel Miriam. Now, if that was the case, with one cup of water from Be'er Shel Miriam, Reb Chaim Vital was able to understand all the Kisvei Arizal. So they were having it for every morning. Every morning coffee was made of Be'er Shel Miriam. Can you imagine what geniuses these people were? How much they understood? So it's a whole different cooker there. It's called a Doyer Deya. It's a Doyer Deya. It's a different. It says Matzah Shabbos. You should go. In Matzah Shabbos, you're supposed to go looking for Be'er Shel Miriam. The Shulchan Aruch. Yeah. It says Matzah Shabbos. The Be'er Shel Miriam is mispashit in all the Nahoros. If you're Zoicha, when you go, tzaddikim used to go out of town to go and shep vasa Matzah Shabbos, because maybe they'll be Zoicha to Be'er Shel Miriam. So it's a good idea to take Be'er Shel Miriam Matzah Shabbos. Ulai, you'll be Zoicha. Anyway, that's just a side point. So I'm just saying, Mayim b'Mayim, you can't really separate them. You can't say Ad Kan is this vasa and here can't say it's all one big water. The waves are flowing together. But Lefi ha'emes, there's two Mayims over here. There's the Mayim of the Yam Stam and there's Be'er Shel Miriam. Al derech ze oil and sof. There you can't see it as a separation. It's all one big oil. It's oil and sof hoyim amal makom achol. But Biprotius, the Rebbe Shvaseidin is proving from the very kasha of the Eitz Chaim that he says, why was the Tzimtzum B'derech said, why not leave over the kav? Is from that kasha is muchach that there's two oilos lifnei Tzimtzum. That means there's an oil hagvul. That means that the Eitz Chaim holds that the oilos do have it sealed. So inside he says, if Apian al Yeshloima, Miyacha Sheyesh Shemochel Oir Hakav Ba'enes of Shrifnei Tzimtzum, V'hein Eses Filis Agnuzes, She'ein Ze Bechinas Ha'atzmus the Oir Sof HaBligvul. That's not the Oir Sof HaBligvul, the regular Oir Sof. Rak Masha Klulim Ba'Oir Sof, the Spheres HaKlulim inside Oir Sof. Ulegabi Bechina Madega Zu Oir Hakav Hu Bechinas Gila Helam. For that madriga, the oil kav doesn't have to be nischadish. It's there be'etzem. You just have to extract it from oil and sof, and you'll be fine. Now we understand what the kasha of the Eitz Chaim is. All you have to do is take 90%, which is the oil and sof, or the full oil and sof habligvul v'yishor oil hakav hanimshach So in our mashal, if we take our mashal of the Yam Kinneret, if you want to see the Be'erushim meaning, all you have to do is get rid of all the other water, and what will be left? Will be left a separate mine, which will be this Be'erush. So if you could do that to the Kinneret, dry out everything, and leave that there, that's what the question of time is. Why take everything away and start again? Just take everything else away and leave the kav there. That means there is an Oir HaKav. Now, here's where it starts getting a bit more complicated. So according to what we're saying, it could have been, in a way, that the Oir HaKav remained. It could have been. But the poil, was there a tzimtzum with Derech Siluk? There was. Right?
This says...
ואם לא היה צמצום כלל לא יהב שלי יש הסגל הסקר וכאשר מהאור שהוא בכינס בלי גבול אין הנקר כלל האור שהוא בכינס גבול. When you have the bli gvul you can't see the קו והיינו דקאשר היה גילו האור אין סוף קודם הצמצום היה הספירס הגנוזס בטלים לגמרי באינסוף הבלי גבול או כביטל זיו השמש בשמש ולבני אור גוף עצם השמש So while it's lifting out Tzimtzum, you can't see the Oir HaKav, you can't see the Esses V'Zeknuzes, or even though it's there, because it's bottled. Kein Hutzach Lies is Almos Ein Sof, Vichtei Shi is Galas Esses V'Zeknuzes. V'zeh Yaspik Shi is Galas HaKav. Oh, here's where he gives the brackets, the Moshe we gave. As we know, the whole arichas we had about that. The tzimtzum was not in the Rishimu. Just leave it over. What's Taka the reason why it did go away completely? The Tilit Shom, the Eitz Chaim answers, why Taka did you not leave over the kav? Why did you make a silig l'gami? Shezeu rak b'shvilis havas akelim. It's only for havas akelim. The im hoya nisha ha'or afilu rak oir hakav loy hoya efsheliz is havas akelim. V'acha shekvar nishava einem ispat mem gam kishenimshach b'hem ha'or v'agilu. U'kum ha'shikosim lachem acha. Which that itself needs a whole deal. We're not going to get into this because unless we have time. It's the whole thing. This whole thing itself, though, doesn't. I mean, what's stuck of the deal? You're saying the reason why you took away everything was because of the kelim. If you'd leave over even the kav, you won't be able to have kelim. If you take everything away, then it's chadash kelim. Now that the kelim are there, when the kav comes back, they're fine with the kav. Kelim and kav get along. Hold on. You just said if you leave over the kav, you would not be able to have kelim. That was the teres Eitz Chaim. That means Kalim and Kav don't get along together. If the Kav stays, the Kalim don't come. If you take everything away, then the Kalim can arrive. Okay, now the Kalim are here. It says afterwards it's fine. Why not? Do you know what the question is? But this is not the noise over here. So for the time being, we can leave that alone. That's what it says. Just giving it as an example anyway. I mean, just bringing the teretz, but that's not the main point. He just says that the tzimtzum was not for the oil, the tzimtzum was for the kelim. So now comes the next piece. Adayin tzorach lahovin daharigam hamshach sakav hu aridei hatzimtzum shahayitchilu lepoil. The kav did go away. The gam lefia mashmois Eitz Chaim shahayit be'efshashi shoy b'chinas akav. Although it's mashma, it could have stayed. We call mokim hara yehoya al kaponim tzimtzum gam ba'er hakav. Ve'im kein eichu bebechinas gilui hahelem gam mishor shemekore. If it did go away through the tzimtzum, even though it didn't need to, but the poil did go away and came back again afterwards. So why is the kav considered gilui hahelem? That was the answer in the previous Maamar, that the kav, the gabi his own shorish, is gilui hahelem. The Gabe in Saf Abligul is called Yesh Me'ayin. But the Gabe, his own Shorish, which is the Esses V'Zeknuzes, it's considered Gilui Hahelem. Right? Acho Inyan Hu, the Lefishita Zu, the Esses V'Zeknuzes Heim Shorshe Ha'eres, which is the Shitta that we're emphasizing in this Hemshech, Umishom Nimshach Akav, Sichim Leimish de Be'emes Ein Edoyma HaTzimtzum de Oiro Ein Sof LaTzimtzum Shebesherish U'Moker HaKav. Taka, the tzimtzum is not the same. What is the difference? We're going to skip this brackets. The last line of the sif. Da tzimtzum shehoya ba'oren sof hu bebechinas siluk lis almas
Next
lagamri.
page.
It's at the end of the page, right at the end of the page. Da tzimtzum shehoya ba'oren sof hu bebechinas siluk lis almas lagamri. Ma she'enkim ba tzimtzum b'sheresh shemocha hakav. Let's finish off the line. What's the chulu?
He says that the kids
Was
are
not-
back with Cheshvan.
Was not siluk lagamri. Does that make sense? Yeah. Let's look at the kitzah. Last line of the kitzah. והגם דהקו הוא גם כן על ידי צמצום, הנה ראשית הזו דשורש הקו הוא מעשר סביב הגנוזס, הצמצום בשביל הקו הוא רק בבחינס מיעוט. This is, there's no Maamar here. Right, this is a chiddush. The tzimtzum before the kav was b'derech miut, but it's a himmel geshoy. How can you say this? It's soisim in obey from the beginning of the page to the end of the page. There's a problem over here. You're saying it could have stayed, but it didn't stay. Why didn't it stay? For the kalim, okay, but it went away. But it was a tzimtzum b'derech siluk. Finish off saying. The truth is, it's only b'derech miut. So we have to rewrite the Eitz Chaim again if that's the case. The tzimtzum was b'derech siluk or b'derech miut. It's a big problem. Every now and then the Frierdiker Rebbe mentions it. What?
It's kind of just asking why you need a tzimtzum b'chlal.
The Eitz Chaim is asking why do you need a tzimtzum legamri, siluk legamri? Why not leave over the cup?
Why do you need a tzimtzum even in part of the cup?
Right. That means there was a tzimtzum in the cup.
Yeah, not a tzimtzum.
So you want to say it's not sosa the lashon of Eitz Chaim? Okay. But have you ever found anywhere else where it says that tzimtzum rishon was half and half? Part of, not half and half, 90%, 10%. 90% was b'derech siluk, and 10% was b'derech miut. Well, now that it was here, you find it a few times afterwards. The Rebbe Mishra repeats it in other places, and the Frierdiker Rebbe already mentions it a few times. But it's very rare you find this lashon. I don't remember that the Rebbe states. Probably is somewhere. I mean, yes, but in a no, Hayushevis that they're Ayin too. Oh, Sabu Hayushevis.
He says in the footnote over there, the whole
The footnote.
the
Yes,
Hirana
the
mentions also.
footnote. This was the footnote that I had major warfare. Yeah. Ha'ora number.
Can't say 20, but it's
Number
2 hours.
20, yes.
It's 2 hours over there.
He says that inside the Maamar the Rebbe is saying that the Oyer HaMamala is alidei Hemshech HaTzimtzum.
Is that your day?
Hemshech HaTzimtzum.
This is according to the Paris, no?
Hemshech.
The Hemshech done through with tzimtzum.
The Tzimtzum is a Hemshech.
This is according to the Paris, though,
And
no?
then he brings down in the Ha'ara Hemshech Ayin Beis Perit Yud Ches. That's our Perit. And he says like this. I'll just read it out. Unless he doesn't have it mighty over there. The Lahashitil Shesherish HaKav Hu Me'er HaGvul. It says in the Hemshech Ayin Beis that according to that Shitta, our Shitta, Lo Hutzach Li is Tzimtzum B'derech Siluk, V'hoya Maspik Sherak Yis'alim Oyer HaBli Gvul. That would be enough. Just take away the Bli Gvul. U'ma Sha'at Tzimtzum Hoya B'derech Siluk, that also the Oyer HaKav, the Sherish HaKav was also Nisalim, Hu B'shvil HaKelim. He didn't need it. It was only for the Kelim. He's doing him a favor. For the Kelim, he went away. But Be'etzem, he doesn't need it. So, that's the kasha. And the Ha'ar is asking on the Pnim. You just said that the Kav went through a Tzimtzum. He didn't really need the Tzimtzum. Why should he be affected by the Tzimtzum? So carries on the Rebbe and the Ha'ar. Aval noisef razeh shegam lefi zeh sha'asibuk hoye b'shvil HaKelim. Nevertheless, hamshachas HaKav bepoil hoy sa'alidei Tzimtzum b'derech siluk etc. But he says clearly, even according to what it says over here, the tzimtzum was b'derech siluk. Means the Rebbe is learning pshat over here that definitely the tzimtzum was b'derech siluk. Also in the Sherish HaKav. So there's a major problem. You get the problem? You want to see inside? You can see inside. Number 20, you read it there. It says clearly, Lepoil, the tzimtzum was b'derech siluk.
So how can you say that one symptom is doing two separate things?
What's that?
How can you say that one symptom is doing two separate things?
What's the problem?
It's Masalik the bleedable and Mimayis the horrible.
So you're asking a similar question, a different way around. It's a very good question.
And yet you say that there was in Le'nagabait symptom here, it was only Masalik that are bleedable. But how come it's one thing do two?
What's with seeing afterwards? He's Mitzayin Chiluk Beis. Hemshech in Beis Chiluk Beis. No, the other of the day 20. He says the Isif did Mask by.
Oh, so that's negate to the Teichen that he's talking about over there, that the Tzimtzum was Koil and the Kav, his Chalkus.
But not to do with the.
We say it
It's
also
connected, obviously, because it's all what is Chelik Beis is going to refer to this the whole time. This is why I said this is a major thing in the whole Hemshech, because in Chelik Beis, by the what they call the Bar Mitzvah Maamarim, that's Pesach Ayin Hey, and the Rebbe's Bar Mitzvah, those Maamarim Pesach was a Hemshech of this. I mean, it's all one Hemshech, but he goes back to this, and he says that Tzimtzum did do something to the Kav. It wasn't just with Derech Gila Helam. The very fact that the Tzimtzum is something which is opposite, it's a Pnu Hofchis, is called what's that?
He says it's
It says it's Mia.
No, he says it's his Chalkus. What are you talking about? Which page is this?
Because there is
No, he's saying, okay, fine. It starts out over there. Yeah, you want to say it starts over there. But there he brings down that the Kav, because it's an Inyan Negdi, therefore it's Ki'ilu, you've cropped the Oira Kav, it splits up into his Chalkus. A bit like when the sunlight comes down, as soon as it hits the cloud, it splits up into the rainbow. So the crop splits it. So the crop of the Tzimtzum made the Kav into his Chalkus. So it sounds like the Tzimtzum was put something for the Kav. That's what's negated to the Hemshech of the Hara. We don't worry about that over here. What we're dealing is, was the Tzimtzum with Derech Siluk or not? You can't rewrite the Eitz Chaim. The Tzimtzum was with Derech Siluk, and he says it clearly over here. So what on earth does that mean? Over here.
He says it's on the Chazvehir. But it's once Chazvehir, so then it's
Well, how does that help the Chazvehir? Chazvehir is not going on the Oira Kav, it's going on the Oira Blib.
It's not going to Chazvehir is not a
It's a plonter. Chazor here doesn't mean that the Oira Kav, it wouldn't be called Chazor here. After the Silik was Chazor Hemshech or something like that. Chazor here means the bleed wall was Meir again by from Makif, and therefore it gave a push to the Kav to go out, to be Hemshech. But the Chazor here is going on the bleed wall. We can get back to that after we're on in the brackets. Skip the brackets. I want to just deal with this meal problem.
Yeah? I don't know what is just like an idea. Could you be medayik that over here says b'fchina smit and the other veloshin is derech siluk? Meaning the derech is a derech siluk, but what it did was in the way of meal. Like him with a gang and what it did with the pill. Saying.
The Yukul is showing us. I mean, I don't think that really helps anything.
Al-Kapani.
I answered this time. The bad
Yes.
Because you're saying you need to be able to ask.
You have to be siluk. Exactly. How can it be just big derech meal? It's in the same sieve. It's not as if it's a Maamar later. It's in the same sieve. He's bringing the Eitz Chaim. He says it's in derech sieve. It can't be any other way. It has to be siluk. And he says why? He says for the kelim. And they said, yeah, but now that we've come to the Kav, used the Kav is really there already, so it just has to be nismayit. I tell you, the problem becomes even worse, if you want, in Perik Chavches. Let's just jump ahead to one line in Perik Chavches. First line of Perik Chavches. Chavches. Page Nunches. Beginning of the Perik, it starts with Hinei. Hatzimtzum shehoye ba'oren sof hu shnis'alam ha'oy shebechinas ein sof v'nishar rak bechinas hashara hanal. What is the hashara? The hainu hiskalas as es wie sagt Moses. Shezel bechinas ha'yesa ha'achreina sheba'oren sof the Hibechinas Kun Levad Adar Bigvul, and that's Malchus Dein Sof, basically the Kav. The Oira Kav, that's three sentences. He says, Nisha. Rebbeinu Shemorah, what Nisha? We just asked the question, why wasn't it left over? And he said, yeah, it was left over. Right? So these are different questions. So one answer that I was told is that you could say like this: Is the Maamar a history book? No, there was a Shiluk, and then it came back, and then it was an Hemshech. So basically, if it went away and came back, that's basically called staying. Nisha, it stayed. Do you get what I'm saying?
That's not what it says in the Maamar here.
What's that?
That's not what it says here.
No, it's just fine. It says there was a Shiluk. Taka was a Shiluk.
And then the whole
then it
Maamar
came-
is
and then it
about
came-
Dveikus Shadei Hemshech. Siluk means that now there's a Hemshech.
Let's leave this Maamar on. Let's leave this Maamar on. Let's try. I was just bringing a proof from here that there was B'derech Shiluk.
So that's what he answered.
What's that?
That's what he answered.
That what?
No,
Sorry, I didn't hear.
no, but before when you get Chaz over here, but
The chaz over here, and then it's derech meal. That's essentially what it is.
That's what you meant?
that's what I said. But
I didn't understand what you said. You're trying to say the chaz over here means, therefore, it's since it comes back, therefore it's anyway.
yeah, that's me. The Tzimtzum Dark Meat is once is on Chaz over here. Once Chaz over here, kilo after.
The meat is
That's not
after.
what I said.
So why does it mean leave?
Huh?
So why does it mean leave?
Huh?
Siluk for the Caleb, and then after the Chafayim.
Right. The Silik was in order to have the Matthias of Kalim. Once the Kalim are there, come back, and if it came back, it means it never went really. It's a technical hefsek. For a minute, it went out, came back.
There wasn't a smite also.
And then afterwards, from then, once it comes back, it goes down less and less as it goes down. It's mute. So if he
It says to
didn't.
make the tab that's being meal.
What's that?
It says to the church is the tab that's meal.
B'shvil hakav doesn't mean for the shoulders of the kav. It means for maybe for the hamshachas hakav.
The whole word is that you don't need Tzimtzum Klal for the tab.
Right. So
Why does it be Tzimtzum for the tab?
not for the kav. It's only for the kalim. He's doing the kalim a favor by moving out for a minute. The kalim on his hava, and he comes back, and then he's just mismayed. So it's not called siluk.
So it doesn't mean Tzimtzum for the tab.
B'shvil hamshachas hakav, should we say? For the hamshachas hakav.
That idea is true according to all the books. Practically always there's an earnest state. That's called Nisha. That's called
No. If it comes back after the moshel, according to the other shita which he brings down in the brackets, that the tzimtzum was the derech siluk for the oir itself. In other words, I would never be able to get from blikvul to oir hakav unless I have the tzimtzum. As the oir needs the tzimtzum, then when the oir comes after the tzimtzum, it's called our oir, which went through a hefsek. It's like you sent it out in order that when it comes back a different type of oil. The siluk is mafsik from the way it was before to the way it is now. When it comes back after the tzimtzum, it comes back as a ha'or of what it was before. It's not with the same takeoff. But if you say that the oil doesn't need to be nistalik because it's only an erakav, so he's only going away for the kalim. He's doing them a favor, but he himself doesn't need it, so he didn't change. So he's there before, he's there after. There was a hefsek for a minute. Or to quote another marshal, Reb Zera, Shachter Reb Zera, he came back the next year. It's the same Reb Zera. You never heard that marshal? Reb Zera came back afterwards. It's the same Reb Zera. It's not somebody else. He was there and he came back. So the kav went away and he came back again. So that teretz is okay. Huh?
It's a technical.
Well, what's the pircha on that teretz? The pircha is going to be from Perek Chavches, where he says the nisha. So he stayed.
Nisha means kilu
Ki'ilu nisha. That's not fair. That's not.
No, that's
Exactly.
In other words, it's saying the Golomb is just still there. That's how you explain it.
So
That's what you were trying to. I thought you looked through it.
So you didn't answer Michoel the stira. You just avoided it.
Yeah,
It's not.
you
It's
said-
not Pesach.
So according to that,
just-
nisha means ki'ilu nisha. Since he went away and came back, ki'ilu nisha. That's yeah, you're right. That's what it's. But the lashon is nisha means it stays. That is.
So was it Siluk or Nisha?
It's pasnish to say nisha if you say it was nistalik.
Let's say Nisha Behelim.
What's that?
Nishar Behelim.
What would that mean, nisha behelim?
That the only parallel was Cheshvan the scholar. So
Huh?
Nishar means that the etzem was there, Elamaya was Behelim. It was mine. It's not that he would totally wanted to be the solid kid, but he just wanted to be minded in order to have his house like him. Then afterwards it's Cheshvan Megala, but it's the etzem, that idea stays.
There's no silk.
Huh? So then, was there a siluk or not?
It's a silk.
The siluk
It's
thing.
the Gavidi. It's a silk of its gila.
So it was nistalik.
So
The gila is.
It was nistalik.
the next line in Perek of Ches is Nekuda Rishon Sheis Chizgas Achar Tzimtzum.
Yeah, fine. That's afterwards.
No, that means that it's not the same Gilui before. Even that Nekuda that stayed from. Yeah, I'm saying the Gilui that Nishar from the Tzimtzum Rishon is not what's Nisgar. There's a new Gilui after that.
That's what he's saying. It's nisha behelim. But I'm asking, what was the siluk?
Is siluk the same touch as the stalkos? Is that the same?
I think so.
So why can it mean nisab kill nisab and nisab? So
What?
What is the reputation was the Gani Dal of touch as stalkos? And then it went away.
Okay, symptom was any kipshuta according to every all shittas Chabad. The symptom was any kipshuta. But still, you still say siluk, and you say
So why can't it be a beer in what he's saying? Till what's touch was nostalgic, there was a siluk in the air, and it was.
so. That's the anyway pshat of siluk, that it's there but it's behelim.
So
We're talking in Teres Chabad.
It's not there to stay.
What's that?
Right, the rest of the Ur HaBlikvul, it's not. It's Helen and Gansen forever. It's not meant to be Cheshvan the scholar. So it's not really just Helen. It's also he's a saliging. It's not going to exist. Anyways, here the Siddur is just that valid that there will be a scholar.
This is explaining. The whole paragraph here is explaining this.
What's that?
The paragraph here is explaining there's two different tzimtzumim. The tzimtzum.
What are you talking about now?
The Perek of Ches.
In the brackets you're talking about?
No, in Perek of Ches.
In Chavches.
That's what he's explaining. That's when he goes on. There's tzimtzum to get to the hashara, which stays, and then there's another tzimtzum which is the echmiut, which is
Right,
what
but
is here.
that sounds like afterwards. Repeat
So
it
your
over
question
here.
is if the hashara stayed or was nistalik?
Yeah. Well, what he's saying is taka shtichu yesod. Darf es maß sein. When the siluk happened, where did everyone go by the Pshas HaSiluk? Marshall, in many places it says the Tzimtzum Rishon was to be mavdil between the Pnimis HaOyer and the Chitzonis HaOyer, which is basically the two levels in Oyer and Sof, right? How you mavdil between two things? If two people are going together and you tell them both to get off the street, they go off the street, they're both together still. How you mavdil between this guy and this guy? So you have to send. You have to, even if you send them both off the street, if you want to be mavdil them, you have to tell him you have to go on that street, and you stay on this street, which is closer to the original place. In other words,
Two opposite sides.
well, there's no opposite sides over here. So if you have the oiris mixed up together, right, and we want to separate the two, how are you going to separate the two? If they both were there together when they were Begili, they'll both be together when they're Behel. So obviously, you're going to have to say that the Tzimtzum is different in regards to each oir, and according to each level. The oir in Sef HaBligvul was a stronger siluk. In the one siluk, it's Achas Shush Time. It's one siluk, but it has an effect differently depending on who you are. If you're the oir HaGvul You just have to be mistalek from the Mokum HaCholol. Just stay there quietly and don't disturb the Mokum HaCholol. We want to have Kelim over here. So you stay there, Behelam. So that's his siluk. He goes away from whom? From the Kelim, from the Mokum HaCholol. Or the Moshel, the Talmud would be, the Rav and Talmud would be, stop talking to the Talmud. Don't talk, because the Talmud's going to hear you. He's not going to understand what you're saying. Don't talk to him. Afterwards, you'll tell him you're the Shuta Shemikra. But Lagabi the Talmud, now there has to be a Siluk Lagamri. Nobody's talking to the Talmud. Lagabi the Mokum HaCholol, the Siluk Lagamri. That's all been negated to the oil which is Shaykhis to the Talmud. He has to be Nistalik from whom? From the Makabel, from the Mokum HaCholol. But the oil HaBligvol, he has two problems. Not only does he have to be Nistalik from the Mokum HaCholol, who else does he have to be Nistalik from? From the oil HaGvul. Because before the Tzimtzum, what was the moshel like we had with the Yam Kinneret, with the Maims, Maim B'Maim? It's all mixed together. If you're going to take the whole oil itself and take them away together, they're still going to be mixed up. We now want to separate the oil HaGvul from the oil HaBligvul. So therefore, the Tzimtzum in the oil HaBligvul is not just for the Mokum HaCholol, it's also from the oil HaGvul. So Lagabe the Bligvul, I can say that Nishar, I could say it was left over. Lagabe whom was it left over? Not Lagabe the Mokum HaCholol. HaCholol is less man the Parlig, it's a Tzimtzum Derech Siluk, otherwise how are you going to get Kelim? Now everybody agrees that oil has to be Siluk. Lagabe who is it Siluk? Lagabe the Makabel, Lagabe the Mokum HaCholol, it's Siluk. But Lagabe the oil itself, he had to go away. He just had to keep quiet, not be Nisgala. The oil HaBligvul had to go away because you're mixing up, you're disturbing the oil HaGvul. So he had to go b'derech siluk because he's not shaykhas to anything that's going to happen afterwards. He's going to be mevalve everything if he's beginning, if anything's left over. You get what I'm saying? So it comes out that it's one symptom, but each one lefi inyone, the oil HaGvul, which belongs to the Mokum HaCholol, he's shaykhas. He's supposed to come along later. He stays over behelim, obviously, like you said, he's behelim. So the siluk was per that he's behelim, but he didn't go away to some other madrega, it was nichlan and atzmos or somewhere like that. He stayed there, behelim. Lagabi me is he behelim? Lagabi the Mokum HaCholol, Lagabi the Talmud. But the Bligvul, that I had to take away completely. So therefore, it makes sense. Nisha means Lagabi the Bligvul, the Etzemer himself.
It's the same. Don't we say that the Bligvul also stays behind?
No, obviously it's behelim, but it's a deeper helim. It's a helim, not just Lagabi the Talmud. It's Lagabi the. In other words, when the Rav is now dealing with a Seichel Poshet, he's now about to speak to the Talmud. So Lagabi the Talmud is nothing. So Tzimtzum Derech Siluk. He's not talking to the Talmud. Now he's going to start talking to the Talmud, a Seichel Poshet. Where is now the Seichel, Oimik HaSeichel? That has to stay further away in his memory. Or even if Chazav Eheya, it's there by from Makifi, but it's not. He's not learning Le'iyun now. He's learning Seichel Poshet. If he would for one moment start thinking again about the Oimik HaSeichel, he would get lost and forget about the Talmud already. He'll go back into his own Eon, his own Olam. So that has to be twice removed, so to speak. It's removed from the Talmud Zicha, because it's not Shaykhs the Talmud, and it's also removed Lagabe the Madrega, which is dealing with Talmud, the Oil, which is Shaykhs the Talmud. That it has to be removed from there as well. So miyut means, first of all, if it's nishar, that means it's really there. So it means it wasn't a hefsek for him. It was just it's almost legabe the it's a hefsek legabe the Mokum HaCholol, but not legabe the oil itself. The oil itself, when it comes down afterwards, is only being nismayit. It's not like if the Bligvul would now come down, it would not be able to come down. It would have to somehow break through the tzimtzum, as he says in the brackets. That's if the Bligvul would come back. 1 second. Where's it over here in the brackets? Yeah, it would be a dilagut tzimtzum. Look at the line in the middle of Hamad Lamed Ches. The line begins Alidei Sheho'er Chazav Eheya. Well, a fish is Shamsha Chazav. Now he's going into the shit that it's Bligvul. Well, a fish is Shamsha Chazav who Ma'er Ha Bligvul Shechazav Eheya. Hine Hagam Da Oifnam Shechazav B'derech Dilagat Tzimtzum. But there is a hefsek. It's only like Cyrus. If we should have ha'oira in sof gam dvekas kazu is enough to make it oimer and amoir. Well, let's go a few lines down. There's v'husha ha'oira hu gam kenach and saints of hainu if we should have ha'amshach or should be derech diluk yesh k'tzas dvekas. V'zeh sha'akav hagam shenikra mazel. It's nevertheless it's in the Davido. But there is, why are we calling it Cyrus? What's the motion of a cider? A cider has to break through the bone of the gulgolis. So what comes out afterwards is garnished. It's loy be'erach. That's not miut. That's like a new... The cyrus that come out, you can't see any brains in the cyrus. Right? Correct or not? If you see, look at somebody's cyrus, you can't tell how smart... Oh, no, maybe you can, I don't know. But you can, there's no brains in the cyrus. Right? You can cut... But you can cut off the cyrus. You're not going to be any less smart if... Some people don't need to begin with, yeah. But if you cut off the hairs, what's going to be? It's going to be disturbed something. It comes from Meichen, it goes through Meichen, but it goes through the Gulgolis. This is a cider. It's nothing to do with brains anymore. It's a cider. It's garnish. You can cut it off, you won't feel anything. So what does that mean? That it's b'derech diluk. So if the kav is coming from Bligvul, it's b'derech diluk. You only have a cider. Mashenkin here, it's not a cider. It's like chai seivarim. It's mebiot. He didn't go away and have to break through the tzimtzum. For him, there's nothing to break through. Because in other words, what we're splitting up over here is legabe kelim and legabe oil itself. Is the siluk affecting the oil for the oil, or is it affecting the oil only for the kelim? According to the shitta, the whole tzimtzum was only for the tzimtzum in the kav was only for the kelim. It wasn't affecting the oil himself. Of course, he had to be behelim. Of course, he had to go away. But from whom did he have to go away? Only from the Kli. So when he comes back, he's just come back as he was. If he had to go away for himself, in other words, for him to become an Oira Gvul down here, he had to break through the Tzimtzum and come from Bligvul to Gvul, then he's like a Saira, then he himself suffers from the Tzimtzum. In other words, the question is, does the Oir suffer from the Tzimtzum? Not the answer is, according to the Shitta, it doesn't suffer from the Tzimtzum.
So it comes out that Nishar, the Shas Tzimtzum and Miut is after the way it's over here.
The nishar is even b'shas the siluk, he remains. He's nishar because the people went away from him. Yes, not b'shas the tzimtzum, after.
Why do you have the
Or it could even.
Still stands correct in that.
What's that?
The thing you said at the beginning still stands correct, that it's mute in the way it came back. That it didn't leave and it's back as the mute.
Okay. You see, we say this miyat is b'shas ma'aseh. It could even be b'shas ma'aseh. It's nishmayat, because the very fact, you see, later on in Chelik Beis, in that part, you probably learned the Maamar v'nocha Tavshin Chaf Hei. It's basically it's a kitzah of Ayin Beis. So over there, you have that nakuda that when the tzimtzum when the blikvul goes away and then the Oira Kav remains, like it says over here, the very fact that it gets separated from the Bligvul is already a Yerida in the oil, Hakav. So it could even mean that just by being left over from the Bligvul is already a Miyut, because he's separated from his Bligvul. No, it's not on the Lamaila, but the Bligvul went away, so he's left on his own. Beforehand, he was it's like he took away the whole Yam Kinneret, he left over the Beirish and Miriam. In water, it won't work like that, but the Akoponim in Nimshul, once you take away the Bligvul, he's already a Yerida. He's already on his own.
That's what he speaks about the Kerach.
Okay.
When things are together, there's a higher oil that is...
Right, okay.
Why do you have to separate? Push them both away and just take back one?
Say again?
Why do you have to separate them? Why can't you just push both of them away and just take back one?
Because they're mu'uluf together. You can't
take back.
It's like in the moshel of the Rav and Talmud, you can't take away 10% of amkus. Right? So if there's no oil there, if it's all together, you can't separate it. If it's a separate oil, then all you have to do is take away the bligvul, and he will remain on his own, and he'll be what he is. It doesn't be. In other words, the kav doesn't need to be nischadish, but according to the other shitta, it's almost as if the kav has to be nischadish. I see we've done overtime.
Could it be medayik this Could it be medayik these two different tzimtzum kilo? When he says in the end of Perek Yud Ches, he said that Tzimtzum She'eh Be'erin Seif Ubevchinas L'Gvesamas L'Gamri, Ma'ashekin Ba'at Tzimtzum B'Sheirish M'Karakav, that's one Bevchinas Meat, meaning listening Ba'at Tzimtzum B'Sheirish M'Karakav, I knew that would be the Makam Chol essentially.
No.
Meaning that
in the oil, we're not talking about the Makam Chol. The Makam Chol is also going to be siluk. The shaila is the oil klape atzmai.
Meaning what you were saying before, but he has to get out of the way of Makam Chol.
Which is 3 Salmos. So
the Salmos, but over there is where it's B'chinas Miut. Meaning that mitzad the Shirish Makar.
The Shirish Makar.
Mitzad Erin Seif, it's a Siluk Salmos Lagam because that's the bleak wool.
Right.
Mitzad the Shirish Makar.
He doesn't have to be Misama Magamri Klape himself.
That's what he said.
The Shirish Akav doesn't have to go away. It's only for the Kelim. He doesn't have to go away, so he can remain. He just has to be Behelim, obviously, because of the Kelim. But Mitzad himself, he's not being Nistalik anywhere. Problem is, we don't have a real mashal for this. That's why the mashal of Tava doesn't work over here. So it's difficult to explain how that would work. But theoretically, imagine that in the Rav there's 2 oiras. There's the Oimika Seichel and there's a Pashta Seichel. Right? And it's all Ma'uruv, which is really what it says usually. It's Ma'uruv together. What?
He has a Pshat Chumash.
Right, so but he can't think about it when he's busy with the Oimika Seichel. As soon as he stops thinking the Oimika Seichel, which means it's Siluk L'Gamri, he then is able to see the Pashta Seichel. At that point, is he talking to the Talmud? Not yet. The Gabi the Talmud it's similar to Gamri, but the Rav himself,
he's still not talking.
He's still not talking about it. But the Gabi the Rav himself, he stopped thinking about the Oimika Seichel and he started concentrating now. How am I going to explain the simple part, a simple idea from this Seichel? How can I explain the simple idea? He hasn't started looking to the Talmud yet. The Talmud was just Nischadish now. So the Gabi the Talmud it's Helam the Gamri. The Gabi the oil itself. So there's the oil which he's not going to deal with anymore because he left it. He sent it away to his memory. And then there's the Chelik HaPashut which he's now going to start to develop to explain to the